glad you're here and you're taking some time to join us today. My name is Larissa Dunphy. I'm a family and consumer science educator in Belmont County for Ohio State University Extension. Our learning objectives for today are, we're just going to learn general facts about skin cancer, identify your own personal risk factors, discuss three of the most common skin cancers, and then recognize the importance of sun safety, as well as learn some ways to protect yourself from UV rays. So why is this such an important thing? Skin cancer is the most common cancer in the US and worldwide, and more people are diagnosed with skin cancer each year in the US than all other cancers combined. 1 in 5 Americans will develop a form of skin cancer by the age of 70. And more than 9,500 people are diagnosed with skin cancer every day in the US, and more than 2 people die of skin cancer in the US every hour. So when it's detected early, the 5-year survival rate for melanoma is 99%. And the annual cost of treating skin cancer in the US is estimated at $8.1 billion. So if you've ever wondered why some people are more at risk than others, it's because of things like these things that we're going to talk about here. Levels of exposure, how often you're in the sun, what your skin type is, and what color. So skin that burns or freckles, maybe reddens easily or becomes painful in the sun. Our age, older age, 90% of visible changes are attributed to aging and are caused by the sun and or tanning beds. And a family or personal history of skin cancer. And then depending on what color we have, like blondes and red-haired individuals are more at risk. And the same goes for blue and green eye colored. And then certain types and large number of moles can also put us at risk. So I thought we would take a few minutes just to look at what our risk of skin cancer is, or skin damage. So this risk survey is from the Go Sun Smart at Work. And if you have a piece of paper and a pen, and you can just jot down your numbers, you don't need to look at write down the question, just what number coincides with your response. And then at the end, we'll total all of them. And that way you can know your risk. So when I go outside and it is sunny, I wear sunscreen. So whatever response you identify with, write that number down. I wear a hat with a brim to protect myself from the sun. I wear sunglasses to protect my eyes from the sun. I stay in the shade to protect myself from the sun. I wear clothes covering most of my body, such as long pants, long sleeve shirts, to protect myself from the sun. Okay, we have more questions here, so keep writing your numbers down and then we'll total them. I intentionally go out in the sun to get a tan. Does anyone in your immediate family, which includes parents, grandparents, or siblings, have or ever had skin cancer? What is the natural color of your hair? What is the color of your untanned skin? How many times in your life have you had a severe sunburn that blistered? This is our last set of questions here. How many moles do you have that are bigger around than a pencil eraser? How many freckles do you have? When I go out into the summer sun for the first time, my skin, I live at this elevation. And then using the world map, what area have you lived in most? Okay, so I'll give you a minute just to total up your responses there. And then what does this all mean? Well, if our total was between 17 and 29, it means I am at low risk, but still need to watch myself to prevent burns. 30 to 41, I am at medium risk. I need to protect myself with protective clothing and sunscreen. And 42 through 53, I am at high risk. I really need to be extra careful and protect my skin and the sun all the time. So hopefully you're not falling in that 42 to 53 risk category. But there's always things that we can do to decrease our risk, and we're going to talk about some of those things. But skin cancer develops in people of all ages, races, and nationalities. It does not discriminate, so it can also develop in some interesting places or unlikely places that we might not think about, such as our scalp, our lips, our hands, our feet, our groin, and eyelids. So if you see a spot that's changing or itching or bleeding on any area of your body, see a dermatologist. So the top 3 most common types of skin cancer, you may have heard of these at different times and not sure exactly what they are, but we have basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, and then melanoma. Excuse me. So basal cell carcinoma is the most common form of skin cancer in the United States. Almost all basal cell carcinomas occur on parts of the body excessively exposed to the sun. So like our face, ears, neck, scalp, shoulders, and back. And these are some pictures of basal cell carcinoma. And it can look like a sore that doesn't heal. It can be a reddish patch, shiny bump, or a pink growth with a slightly raised rolled border. About 90% of non-melanoma skin cancers are associated with exposure to that UV ultraviolet radiation from the sun and or the tanning beds. And the cure rate when treated early is about 98%. So early detection is so important when it comes to skin cancer. The second leading cause or most common form of skin cancer is squamous cell carcinoma, and chronic exposure to the sunlight causes most cases of squamous cell carcinoma. Oops, I'm sorry. Frequent use of tanning beds or being in the sun also multiplies the risk of squamous cell carcinoma. People who use tanning beds are 2.5 times more likely to develop squamous cell carcinoma than those who don't. And regular daily use of an SPF of 15 or higher sunscreen reduces the risk of developing this kind of cancer by about 40%. So that's why it's so important for us to use sunscreen. And then the third most common type is melanoma. Nearly 20 Americans die every day. And melanoma is the #1 cause of cancer death in women aged 25 to 30. About 86% of melanoma cases can be attributed to ultraviolet radiation from the sun or tanning beds. And again, here's some pictures of what it might look like. A mole that's changed, a multicolored dark area on the skin. It can be found anywhere on the body as well, like the upper back, torso, lower legs, head, and neck. And only 20 to 30% of melanomas are found in existing moles, while 70 to 80% arise on normal looking skin. Excuse me. So we use the warning signs. Maybe you're familiar with this. Maybe you've heard of the ABCDEs of melanoma, but melanoma is the deadliest form of skin cancer, and early detection is key. The earlier we detect it, the more treatable it is, and you can identify it using the ABCDEs. So A is asymmetry. So it does not have matching sides if divided in 2 halves. And then the border is irregular, maybe jagged, notched, uneven edges. The color variation, it can be multiple colors. They can range from red, white, blue, brown, or even black. And then the diameter, a normal mole is usually not more than 6 millimeters, which is about the size of a pencil eraser. And then evolving. So we watch for change in size, the shape, the color, and crusting. Any change that doesn't go away in a timely manner should definitely be checked by a physician. And then if we notice any sensitivity or itching, any pain or ticklish. So how do we protect ourselves from the sun? The number one way is using sunscreen. We want to make sure we use it daily, even if the sun isn't out. We still want to protect our skin. We need to reapply it every 2 hours or sooner if we're sweating or if we're swimming. It's best to apply it 30 minutes before going outside so it has a chance to soak in and start working. We want to be sure to rub in the spray sunscreen. That's a popular version of sunscreen is the spray, but we still want to rub it in. I know I've been known to use this spray without rubbing it in, and so we definitely have more redness in those areas that don't get sprayed directly. So it's important to still rub it in so that we get the full benefit. And then, like I mentioned, make sure that we're wearing it even on cloudy days. Use lip protection. Remember, that's an area that we don't think about a lot of times with potential for skin damage or skin cancer, but using an SPF of at least 30 in our lip balm or lip gloss is recommended. Limit our sun exposure, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. when the sun's rays are the most intense. Try to limit the time that you spend outside. Keep track of that time by setting a timer or an alarm on your phone, or there's a picture of a chicken timer there, whatever works for you. And then make sure that we seek shade if we're going to be outside for an entire day. It can be natural or it can be artificial shade. So be cautious around the snow, or if you're in sand or the water, because those are reflective. I know people that like go fishing and don't put on their sunscreen, or they sit in the sand under an umbrella and don't have their sunscreen on. I wonder how they're still getting a sunburn. It's because those areas still reflect the sun, the UV light. Wear sunglasses. Choose and wear sunglasses that provide 99 to 100% UVA and UVB protection. And then small children still need protection as well, and so they should wear sunglasses if they're outside as well. And that's not just if it's on a sunny day. It's best to protect our eyes all the time. And then wear a wide brimmed hat. So wide brim at least 3 inches around, and that way it covers our ears and our face and the back of our neck. It's best to avoid a straw hat or a baseball cap. If the straw hat has lining in it that is ultraviolet protective, that would be fine. And then a baseball cap, we just don't get enough protection for our ears or our temples or our necks. So that's why it's recommended at least that 3-inch brim. And then also wear protective clothing. It will help provide that extra layer of protection. Long sleeves and long pants provide the most protection, but we want you to choose clothing that has that's loose fit, that has breathability, but just think about the colors that you might be selecting too. Dark colors, of course, absorb more heat which can make it uncomfortable if we're outside in the sunlight, but they also provide the most protection. So ultimately, we want to try to have a UPF rating, and that's ultra protective fabric or factor, between 20 and 25. So a white shirt has a UPF of 5, but when it's wet, it's only 3. So that's why we suggest, trying at least to do a red, a green, maybe a lighter blue shirt or purple, so that you can increase that protective factor. There's lots of UPF clothing available these days. I've seen it at my Sam's Club. You can get it online, sporting stores, a lot of different places. And again, that doesn't mean that you're not going to get sun through that clothing. That's just an extra layer of protection that you're providing yourself. Protect windows. So UVA rays can come through windows. You could have UV protection added to any window. They make window film for your automobiles. The front screen or the front windshield is mandated now by law that it has to have the UVA protection. Some manufacturers also add it to the sides of the car and the rear rear window. Tongue twisted here. But films are also available for individual purchase. If you want to add that and your car doesn't have it or your vehicle doesn't have it, you can also purchase window film for your residence or commercial site. And that film can block up to 99.9% of that UV radiation. So when the weather is hot, it will assist in keeping the sun from heating up the space. And then when the weather is cool, it reflects the warmth of the room rather than just letting it escape out. So it can help keep that space more energy efficient. And it's about a 10-year effectiveness for the window film. One of my colleagues that recently retired, she used to do a lot of sun safety presentations, and she ended up experiencing skin cancer. She was an avid wearer of sunscreen and protecting her skin, but her office had a big window that's where she put her desk, and she never thought about wearing sunscreen while she was sitting at her desk inside. And she believes that is a major contributor to the reason why she ended up with skin cancer. So just something to think out of. I think it's important for us to be aware of these things so that we can help protect our skin. Self-examinations are important. It's recommended to do them monthly. And people who have had skin cancer are likely to have additional occurrences within that 5-year period. So become familiar with your moles and spots on your body. If you notice changes in your skin, have them looked at by your primary care physician, or if you have a dermatologist. And the American Academy of Dermatology does not recommend using the cancer detecting apps. The efficacy is not really high. They say that they miss between 30 and 90% of melanoma. So it's best just to check in with your doctor if you're questioning anything on your body. And then check the ultraviolet index. The EPA actually has a free app called Sunwise UV Index app. There's other ones out there as well. If you want to download one on your phone, it's a good idea. So that way you can see what the UV index is for the day and where you are. So this is a look at the ultraviolet ratings, and it can change depending on the time of day. It can fluctuate depending on if it's early morning or late at night, what time of year it may be. It's, summer versus winter, where you are located as far as being in the shade or on blacktop, the altitude, if you're in mountains or lower elevation, what the weather is, maybe cloudy versus clear, any reflections from the sun or water or snow. And a good rule to follow is if you can't see your shadow, seek shade. And even the ozone layer can affect our UV light ratings. So we know the ozone is thinning and offering less protection against harmful UV rays. And if you look at the chart here, if the UV rating is 1 or 2, it says no protection is required. You can be outside safely. But anything higher than a 3 or a 3 or higher, you want to make sure that you're, seeking protection, making sure you're wearing your sunscreen, those kinds of things. And then here's some different internet resources that are available. On Facebook, there's some different communities that you can join: the Skin Cancer Foundation, the American Academy of Dermatology, and of course, there's a lot. These are just a few that I wanted to mention. And then on YouTube, there's a lot of different channels available as well: the Skin Cancer Foundation, the American Academy of Dermatology, Sun Cancer, and Prevention and Detection PSAs. So the information is out there, it's readily available, and if you want to access it. And then part of OSU Extension, our family and consumer science educators, we have Live Healthy, Live Well resources that we want to invite you to participate in. Again, we have a site on Facebook. It's called the Ohio State University Live Healthy, Live Well Facebook page. We share tons of information that's health related. And then Live Healthy, Live Well blog. Once a week, we have a new blog that comes out on different topics. And you can access that and sign up for it at livehealthyosu.com. And then once a week, we also send text messages with short health information with a link that you can click and get additional information on a certain topic. And a lot of times for those 3 items, the blog, the Facebook, and the texting, if there's something, a special holiday or health observance, something like that, that's what we're focusing in on. So questions?